Learning the sounds of a different language.
There was a time where I was hanging out with my friend and we saw this picture of this handsome guy, and I went to say he looks handsome in Korean, but I accidentally said he looks delicious.
As you can see, pronunciation is essential for basic human communication. Without proper pronunciation, all sorts of mishaps can happen.
Studies have shown that good pronunciation leads not only to better listening skills, but also to improved vocabulary and grammar learning, as well as helping with reading comprehension. Working on your pronunciation along with vocabulary and grammar will pave the way to greater and quicker proficiency.
In this video, we will learn skills for learning better pronunciation. The following image provides an overview of these skills.
See how they're all interconnected? Through practice, self-monitoring, and getting feedback, you will learn how to accurately distinguish and pronounce sounds, words, and phrases.
If you want to skip to a particular concept, the timestamp is noted at the bottom of each bubble. Please note that there is a lot of back and forth along the way. Perfecting pronunciation is an ongoing process.
Self-monitoring and getting feedback go hand in hand. Self-monitoring means listening to yourself and evaluating your own accuracy. Feedback is information from others on how to improve and helps train your ear so you can self-monitor.
How do you self-monitor? Find an audio clip from your textbook or YouTube, listen to it, and do your best to emulate the sounds out loud. Listening to yourself is key, but it is best to get a second opinion from a native speaker or from your professor. Don't be afraid to schedule a meeting with your professor.
Let's start with learning to hear the sounds of your target language, especially the sounds that are different from English. What are the difficult sounds to produce and distinguish in your target language? For example, in German, ich versus ach, u and ü.
Make a list of difficult sounds and words that contain them, and go through these lists as often as you can. Especially helpful are pairs of words that contrast sounds, such as bang and pang, kawaii and kawaii. Pay attention to how your jaw, tongue, and lips move as you make sounds. Try using a mirror. These movements affect the way you produce sounds.
Another option is to find video or sagittal images to see how sounds are produced.
Knowing how words should be pronounced. There are several aspects to the pronunciation of words, including individual sounds, emphasis, and tones. Clues to how a word is pronounced can often be found in its spelling, for example, the use of accents and tone marks.
Let's pick a difficult word. First, find an audio recording of how the word is pronounced. Play the audio and listen to it carefully.
懐かしい
Notice the individual sounds, stresses, and if applicable, what is not being pronounced.
Write out the sounds as best as you can. This is the most helpful way to focus on the individual sounds. Na, tsu, ka, shi, yi. Then focus on the word stress, the most emphasized syllable in each word. What rules, patterns, and exceptions can you identify? Keeping a vocabulary list with pronunciation notes is a great idea.
Podcasts, videos, and music are a great way to dig deeper and engage with the sounds of the language you're learning. The more exposure you have to those sounds, the more quickly you will learn to perceive sounds and words correctly.
Knowing how phrases and sentences should be pronounced. Some words and sounds are pronounced differently when they're joined in speech. An example from English is did ya? Did you eat dinner? Note that the y sound of you has become a j, and the following vowel is reduced to a. Compare this with did you eat dinner, which sounds unnatural in informal conversation.
Being able to identify and reproduce how words are joined in conversation is essential to using the language like a native speaker.
Do you hear examples of conversational pronunciation from your teacher or in popular music, podcasts, or YouTube videos? Write them down and try repeating them until they come fluently.
Next, we come to sentence rhythm and melody. Like words and phrases, sentences have their own emphases. For example, listen to the following sentence.
I went to the beach yesterday.
The words went and beach stand out more than the other words.
If you can't hear that, listen to how it sounds when the sentence is hummed. You can really tell that the words beach and went have the most emphasis.
Finally, intonation or sentence melody is essential to successful communication. A simple example is how varying the pitch in the sentence, yeah, right, to yeah, right, changes its meaning.
Intonation is often used to express emotions or attitudes. Exposure to movies, televisions, and podcasts will provide you with a variety of culturally appropriate intonations.
Learning proper pronunciation should be considered as essential as learning vocabulary and grammar. We would like to emphasize how important it is to listen intentionally to yourself and others, to imitate and get feedback, and to be mindful of the different components involved in successful pronunciation.